Cars, eh? Wow, look at that one, eh? Look at the horses on that beast. Look at that one! 4 litre V5, 2.3 numbers. I don't know anything about cars. I'm Rob from JTRpodcast.com and I'm going to show you how to play Downforce. This is a game for 2 to 6 players, plays in about 40 minutes, designed by Rob Davio, Justin D. Jacobson and Wolfgang Kramer, and is published by Restoration Games. You play as racing car team owners. You bid for drivers and their cars, then race against other players while moving any car and betting on any car in order to make the most money. Setup, of course, involves placing a board out on the table, randomly place each car on a space. Make 2 piles of each of the speed cards of a value 8 and the power cards. Deal the rest of the cards out evenly to all players and give each player a score sheet. Gameplay starts with the auction phase. Flip over 1 pair of cards, revealing 1 car and 1 driver. Each player will pick a card from their hand, place it face down, then everyone will reveal simultaneously. The colour car on the card used to bid that matches the speed card up for auction is the value used to bid. For example, this red car is up for auction, the player bids with this card, therefore their bid has a value of $4 million. The highest bidder will write the bid value next to that colour car on their sheet. So in this case, next to the orange car, the player will write the number 4. Ties in an auction will go to the player who plays the card with the most cars on it, so in this case the player on the left will win. If it's still a tie, the player with the fewest wild symbols will win, so in this case the player on the right will win. If a player doesn't happen to have a card of the right colour in their hand, they can bet with a wild symbol in the same way, declaring this before bidding. If a player doesn't have a card of the right colour or a wild, they can use any card using the lowest value car on that card. If you don't want a car, you can play a card that doesn't contain the correct colour, but again this must be declared before the cards are revealed. All cards used to bid, including winning bids, are returned to the player's hand. The winner of the auction adds the 8 card into their hand. They place the ability and plaque matching the car in front of them. Flip over the next pair of cards and repeat. If the number of remaining pairs of cards is equal to the number of players without a car, players with a car can't bid anymore. Any combinations of cards that do not receive a bid are put to one side. If, after all auctions, players are left without a car, they have the chance to bid on these unwanted sets again. Cars not won via second auction will race as normal, but have no owner. Once all the cars have been auctioned, if a player has more than 1 power card, they choose 1 to keep and discard the rest. The power they use will apply to all their cars. The player who controls the car on the number 1 space on the board is the start player and the race will begin. The active player will play a card from their hand and move each car in order as shown on the card top to bottom and discard it. For example, on this car they will move the black car 6 spaces, the green car 4 spaces, any car that isn't black or green or red 2 spaces, and then finally red 1 space. The player with cunning will always move the cars they own themselves, even on other players' turns. The player with tricky may reverse the order of the card bottom to top. If the aggressive player plays a card with multiple colours and one of their cards is on top of that card, they move that 1 additional space. If there's a wild card, the player can choose to move any car, even one that's finished the race or can't move at all. If a card has 2 wild symbols, 2 different cards must be moved. If the player is unpredictable, they may play the wild cards to move any car already on that card. If the card has 2 wild symbols, they must still move 2 different cars. The player with strategic may ignore 1 colour on a card with all 6 colours. A determined player will move their car an extra 2 spaces on any player's turn if they moved only into rectangular spaces. A car must be moved its full movement forward or diagonal. A forward space is any space ahead of its current space. You can't move through other cars, but it's possible to manoeuvre a car into a situation where it can't move its full movement. When a car passes the red betting line and the played card is fully resolved, players make a bet. Each player will tick 1 box to bet on that car. This will be done 3 times throughout the race. When a car crosses the finish line, add it to the finish box in its position. When all of a player's cars have finished, they discard their hand of cards. The game will end if all players have played their cards or all cards have finished. Any cards that haven't finished when players have played all of their cards have stalled and won't score. To get your point total, you add your prize money won by your cars, plus your money earned from betting awards minus the amount you spent on auctions. For example, this player bid 4 million on the black car. The car finished 5th, giving them 2 million. In the first leg they picked blue and it finished 2nd, so they gained 6 million from that. In the second and third leg they picked green and it finished 1st, so they gained a further 9 million. That's 15 from betting plus 2 from the race minus 4 from the auctions equals 13 million. The player with the most money wins. In the case of a tie, the player whose car finished highest at the end of the race is the winner. That's Downforce, a hand management, racing and betting game. Please like this video if you found it useful, share it to let others know about it, and subscribe to the channel for more how to play videos as well as other board game related content. You can find me on Twitter at JTR Podcast, support the show at patreon.com/JTR Podcast, and you can find my blog and podcast at jtrpodcast.com. I've been Rob, aka JestaThaRogue. Until next time, keep on racing to the finish line.